Right, live chat. So the answer is no. Hello. Right again. Let's go for a train ride. Going for a train ride? Right, here we go. That is up. Yes. I'm going to think of somebody can put this thing in. I didn't bring it yet, but then. I've also got to stop this thing from making a racket. Anyway, let's have a look. What are we doing? Going from Sydney Central, we're going to Casino, Casino, Northern New South Wales. No, not a casino. It's a town called Casino. That's a Tangara. That's another train. It's a local Sydney train. Oh yeah, give me a comment. How good are these cameras? This is a brand new camera. Oh, new phone with multi-cameras. Look at that. So, can you see that in the reflection? Here's Strathfield. It's where I usually buy my chicken kebabs when I travel by train. I used to get them just out of here. See, yeah, there's a buffet there. So. Let's see who else is getting on. Mm. Let's get there and have a look. Oh God, Granny and Granddad's getting on.
Also, due to a catering issue, we have no hot meals today, so there will be no hot lunches available.
What number do you want?
22.
Oh, you're next to me. You're in the middle.
Thank you.
There you go. This you or?
That's me, yeah.
I'll have 23 as well if you want.
Yes,
There you go. I'll put it
Nice-
up.
nice
No,
and
I'm
warm.
going back out for a sec.
okay.
You do that? I'll do it for you, but I can't do that. I can't lift my shoulders.
Hopefully not raw. Thank you.
All right, I'm back in a sec. Oh, so much for that, though. Oh, we're going, Dad.
Please arm doors out.
We're going. I just missed all that because my fellow passenger was getting on. Well, this is Strathfield. There it is right there. Strathfield. You gotta look it up. Anyway, we have a chap. Oh, here we go. Oh,
Thank you very much.
next to me in 22. Somebody wrote something, said hi. Yeah, okay. English over here, English only. That's the old Strathfield signal box, and that's now all the high rises all around here. When I was here as a kid, they were all little tiny houses or blocks of units like that one over there. They were just little blocks of units, and built all these high rises. And it's 95% Asians, Chinese, Japanese, Korean. Anyway, cool girl. Hi, cool girl. Okay, we're changing tracks. We're going north. Nobody's talking. Yeah, 22, but she's sitting in 23.
We got Mr. Sam. There you go. Welcome aboard, number 22. Thank you very much. Welcome aboard. Great to have you with us.
Is anybody going in 23 later?
There should be someone there now. At this stage, there should be someone in there now. So maybe they haven't got on board at this stage.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
no worries.
So we're going to have a full carriage, are we? Anyway. Right, I've got here. Hi, cool girl. Who else? Looks like you're back in your seat in the middle.
Anyway, someone coming, so.
There's someone. I don't know where they're going.
So where you heading?
Surfers Paradise.
Surf Paradise. Oh,
How far are you going?
let's go Saba.
Oh, that's painful enough. If you're wondering, I'm doing a live stream.
Oh, live stream.
Yeah, so I've got two people somewhere around the world.
Yeah. Watching you.
Can you read that? Does it make any sense to you?
No, not me.
I don't know. I wouldn't have a clue what native language is. I just thought, some people say, oh yeah, hello, we've got third persons, hello. Pardon me. Now, I have a burping problem. So I've got to take my pills every so often and it stops me from burping. But the thing is, as soon as I have something to eat, it counteracts the burping. So it makes me burp again. They don't know what it is actually. Anyway, let's see if I can see. I'm building myself a. You like this idea? I use my shoe. I put the cup, and then I put the camera in it. So it holds it up. You see? So hang on, people. You're now sitting in my shoe. There we go. Whoops. This is the work. Huh? Hang on, I'll do it the other way. That might work better. That's not long. That'll do. Here we go. Get the camera out of the sun. Oh, someone said something. What did they say? Oh, that's the problem. And the thing is,
That's it.
hello, cool kid said hi. Is that Russian? I think that might be Russian. Let's see if we can. Where is it?
Got a translator.
Translator. No, I don't have translator. Pin. Where's pin? No, I don't have pin either. Yeah, hi. So with a wave. Yeah, there you go. There's a wave back. I think that's a girl. Cool kid. Where are you from? Looks like Russian language. Yeah, well, we're in Sydney, Australia. Halfway around the world. Look, people going to work. Look, it's early morning. It's 7:30. Sun's coming up. It's winter. People are cold. Sorry about the sunlight. I can't do much about it. That is a bunch of old... Can't even see it myself. Oh no, that's the new Meriton Apartments. Meriton is a company. He builds and has been building high-rise apartments for the last 40 years. I once had a job 40 years ago in a Meriton apartment. I was a cook and they rent the apartments out as hotel motels for people all around the world. Hustle Worker 1 says hi. Hello, Hustle Worker 1. And I worked in there as a nighttime chef, cook. Anyway, and that was at Meriton. and that was in 220 Goulburn Street, Sydney. Now it's called the Waratah Apartments. It was the Waratah Hotel, and then they turned into Waratah Apartments. Where is Hustle Worker? Where are you from? I want to look at that side. There's some water out there. Look. Look. Hey, that's the water. When the trees get out of the road. Here we go, Sydney Harbour. Well, 23. Anyway. 23?
23, yeah.
Over there.
Thank you.
And I thought I had the room all to myself. Well, I'll tell you something. I'd rather be sitting up here than sitting back there in one of those seats. I did that once from Melbourne to Sydney, and I couldn't stand it. Put me back. Like that. I put a small coffee cup in my. Like that. I put a small coffee cup in my. Small coffee cup in my shoe. Just hold the phone up. I'm not going to sit here and hold the phone all day. I moved into down there near Sutherland.
Okay.
Now you think Sutherland, you know, good shopping centres somewhere, mobile phone accessories, camera shops, you know, plenty of chemists, plenty of doctors, plenty of. No, been there for 18 months. I cannot get a bulk billing doctor. If I do get
Yeah.
bulk billing doctor said we're not taking any more not more patients. Go back to your original GP. There's only Illawarra Banking and St George Bank.
Okay.
No Commonwealth, no ANZ, and no nothing. And yet the two trains pass there, right?
Yeah.
And you're thinking about big. No, it's got a little IGA, it's got a little Coles, and the Woolworths is way up the road, away from the railway.
Right.
All your main shopping is Caringbah or Hurstville. You want to buy a little something to hold your phone, you have to go to those two.
Okay.
And Caringbah was voted the worst shopping centre in Australia because you go up one escalator to one level,
Yeah.
then you have to go around to 9 o'clock
Right.
to go up, then you have to go, when you go up, you then go around to 12 o'clock to go up. It's not like escalator above escalator. You've got all this stupid, you got to keep walking back like this, and and then it's either side of the, and say 1 or 2 levels high. It's got 3 levels or 4 levels. I just won't go there. I went there twice, and both times my legs gave out. I've had both knees replaced and lower leg surgery. It's just too much for an old man. But I could go to Westfield, or Blacktown, as huge as it is. I can just walk flat.
Yeah.
Right? Just no mucking around. You can walk flat, or you find it. Past it, it's back up there. It's in the middle. I said, what do you mean in the middle? They look at each other. They're right in the middle. Sure, it's looking at all the shop fronts this way. Here's the little thing. You've got 3 little coffee tables and 1 bar bench like that. And there it is, sitting right in the middle of the junction, surrounded by 4 great big pillars. And you wouldn't notice it. It's got 1 little sign. Unreal. Oh, let's see who else is that alone. Brisbane, bro. I do go live on YouTube sometimes. Oh, okay, Hustle Worker. Well, I'm going up there to Surfers Paradise. And this thing terminates at casino. I don't know much about Brisbane. I used to live in Mount Warren Park about 45 years ago. Here's Mount Warren Park. Honeywell Honeywell, Honeyman Road, Crescent, something like that. And that's a train going by. It's quite surprising how many people all around the world will sit there and put a video on, and they'll be sitting in their house, might be doing the ironing, and they watch me filming this, you know, because they don't have to listen to it. They just sit there and look at it while they're doing the ironing, you know. Oh, it's incredible. I think the biggest hit I ever had then one day, I got 85, jumped straight in on me. I just went, what the hell? 85 people around the world? Where are we now, happy? Long ago in the casino, how far are you wandering? Good old Nambucca. There's a guy I met. Now I'm staying in Sutherland. His name is, he's from Nambucca. I'll think for a second. Sage. That's his first name. Bit of a renegade hippie. I think his mother's still up there somewhere. His last name is a bit of a challenge. You know, just coming out of Epping, Sage, where is it? That's a bit better. I love this Facebook. It said, would you be interested in flying IGA and Bombala? Bloody Facebook.
It's down south, isn't it?
Yeah, Bombala, it's the end of the railway line. The original railway line. You used to go down to Sydney, down to Canberra, and you turn off at, and they used to go Queanbeyan down to Cooma, and Cooma down to Bombala.
Okay.
It was actually planned in 1886. Go from Bombala down the mountain into Victoria, and the railway line from Melbourne was supposed to come out and meet it. And that was going to be another way through to Melbourne. But they never did it. The same as they did the railway line from Moree. This is close to you going at Nambucca. They were supposed to do they built Moree to Inverell. They closed that down. And then it was Inverell to Guyra. And it was meant that the train was to come into the north side of Guyra. People could get off and wait, have a breather, have a smoke, whatever, back in 1890 or whatever. And then the train would change, steam train would change ends from the big Guyra railway yard, and that's why people wondered why they had such a big railway yard built there. And then it was meant to go from Guyra, come out and turn right and go east and join up with Dorrigo. And then Dorrigo down to Glenray, and then Glenray, that's why Glenray's got that big railway yard. And then it was meant to back out and then go back down to Toffs Harbour or Membucca or Sydney. But because they didn't have it come down from Glenray, they couldn't just turn the train around like that. They didn't have a big loop line. It sort of never got built. So then they argued, well, it's supposed to take the sheep and the cattle from Moree and Inverell down Dorrigo, down to Glenray, and go to Grafton to go to a meatworks. And then they built, then they had a ferry going from one side of Grafton to the other side until they built the current bridge, which is train on the bottom, cars on the top, and then now they've got the new freeway next to that. And the ferry used to take the carriages across. So if the meatworks was on the south side of Grafton, it'd work. But there's all these little hiccups, and that's what stuffed it up. And they eventually ripped up Inverell back to Moree. And now we have all the problems we have at Moree. Kids stealing cars and got nothing to do, and they can't get out of town, and you know what I mean? I just noticed we got more trains around and more buses around for people to go out, even young kids to go out to go somewhere. There's less trouble. There's less violence in Cronulla, Sutherland, Janelli, all down those shire areas. Whereas if you go to Mount Druitt, which I've lived in as well, you get a bus every half hour, and then after 8 o'clock, there's no buses after 9 o'clock, and the kids can't go out to a movie, and they can't get home, and mum and dad don't have a car, they've got to ask their friends' parents, you see. Whereas Cronulla, trains run right up there virtually all. And then there's always the taxis, because they're on a peninsula. So the taxis are kept in the area. They can just, you know, buzz around. Whereas you go to the west and get in a taxi from Mount Druitt, you might say Parramatta. You see? And the taxi cab out of the area for an hour and a half, 2 hours. That's just, you know, it's also the upbringing of the kids too, I suppose, you know. The parents are strict, the parents are, well, the kids just naturally bad, or I don't know. Just interesting. I like studying the old railway lines, how they planned it. You know, do you know Central at all when you come down 24, 25?
I haven't been to Central for 25 years, 30 years probably.
Oh, right. Okay. Well, they put a, when you go 24, 25, which is the railway line to Bondi Junction, Edgecliff, King's Cross, Martin Place, Town Hall, Central, and then down to the Sutherland Shire or down the South Coast. When you get the elevator to go up from 24, 25, there's two platforms which are blocked off in the dark, and that's 26 and 27 platform, which is now the numbers they use on the new metro rail. That, you know, high-speed train with no driver. They're taking the numbers off that, so they had to go in the elevator and they had to replate it. And you go past it, you see there's one little light in the tunnel, and you can see it as you go up the elevator, like you look through the little glass. And people said, what's that? I said, that's another pair of platforms. And people just thought, I said, well, I went in there in 1976 '79 when we actually had the keys to it. And I said to the station master back then in '79, I said, what's this station for? He said, this 2 platforms are supposed to go down to make up the other 2 working platforms at Museum on the outside, because Museum's got 2 platforms and the trains meet here in the middle. And it's meant to be 2 trains on the outside. And then when you go down to St James, it's 2 platforms on the outside, and the 2 in the middle are blocked off and put wall units up with the toilets. There were actually 2 railway tunnels. And I said, yeah, where does that go? He said, would you believe it? It's only 2 metres away from the rock face at the Opera House. When you see them have their concerts and they're standing up on the stairs to the Opera House and the Opera House is behind them, and they turn out and you see that big sandstone rock wall, 2 metres in there behind that sandstone is a railway tunnel. A lot of people don't know it, because Circular Quay comes out up above it, right? So the train tracks go down, and the idea was the train pulls up there in the tunnel and the people walk out of the Opera House and get on the train. But they just never built it. And that's where so many people get stuck at the Opera House. Because the tram used to come down Macquarie Street, then around that point, like if that's the Opera House, you've got Macquarie Street comes down, and then it's blocked off and there's a walkway around Circular Quay. Next to the water there, that's where the tram used to come down.
Okay.
And then he used to run right round to Alfred Street, where the taxis and buses pull up, and where the trams are rebuilt there now, but they go out the other end, you see. And you say to people, like, I'll be sitting down there and a bloke will be saying, what are you doing? I said, I was just looking when the old train tracks were. Said, what? You know, and you have to explain to them, yeah, there was a tram here, tram line. And they said, really? I said, yeah, hang on. So because I do YouTube, I pull up the video, here's the tram, and there's the old little building against the rock wall of the harbour. It's got that little red tile building, and they've got a coffee shop and all that. And there's it still sitting there. There's 2 trams going either way, going past it. And they just said, why they take them away? I said, mate, they had 600 miles of trams in Sydney. And they took them all out. And then they said, no, we'll run buses. And then, of course, now, you know, the problem is now, traffic jams everywhere. Comment. Brisbane sometimes. Hey, look, sun's going up. Hornsby. Oh, my camera going dirty. Just clean the lens up. This train must be going to be packed. That's the Hornsby Railway Yards. Yeah, I think some people just like watching train videos without commentary. It's better than the sun out of the camera.
washfields and drinking water fountains can be found at the end of each carriage. There is a toilet for customers with disabilities located in car C. The baby change table can also be found in this toilet. Please be advised that smoking is not permitted on board this train or on station premises. All carriages and toilets are fitted with smoke detectors. This also includes vaping and e-cigarettes. Fines will apply. Service is a licensed premises and therefore it is an offence to consume your own alcohol on board this service. Alcohol is available for purchase from the buffet after 12 noon today. Any antisocial behaviour will also not be tolerated. Please watch the step.
You and I both got thongs on,
As we're trained in emergency procedures and will know how to proceed.
and you look out there, and the school kids wearing big hoodie jumpers, wearing the school pants, wearing the boots, and another kid, he's sitting there wearing a jumper and wearing a pair of shorts. Yeah, but then he was saying with us at school, I used to always wear shorts at school in the middle of winter. And they'd say, aren't you cold? I said, yeah, but what does it matter? You know, you just ignore it. You get used to it. I'll take my hip talk. We get stiff in there, but let's have a look out this side. That's great. Look, there's nobody in there.
Want the table out or we'd be right? Oh, no. You ever see one of us walking by now and you want something for the buffet? Just
See all the parked cars down there?
bring it up what you want.
They parked the cars down there to walk up to the train station. Hustle worker 2, hustle worker 1, are you there? Can you have a walk? Can you have a walk? Alright, let's have a walk. Oh. Jump. Here's this carriage here, they've done the carpet up. I just found out. In that carriage here, they've already done the carpet up. That's car B, and this is car C up ahead. And that's got the carpet, and halfway down it turns into a buffet car. So you notice it's got the carpet done. I'll tell you the rest of the story in a minute. What's going on? The railways put all this new carpet in. Oh, he's taking a run. What the railways did, they went out and bought one new country train to replace these. Now these trains were purchased from England in 1980, so they're 45 years old. The problem is the new trains that they bought do not have a night sleeping car. They're only seats and a buffet. So you're not going to get a sleeping berth on the new ones. And people want a sleeping berth. And they also want that car I just showed you where I was sitting. And then I walked out and I showed you the big long bench seat. Because these seats are totally and utterly uncomfortable. Now, they're absolutely, there's nothing comfortable about them. They're just totally and utterly uncomfortable. So, me sitting here, see this, so you can see it. You and the armrest, and my shoulder is up against the window. So there's very little room for your butt or your back. Oops. In daylight. You get that big long bench, you got a toilet, you got your own hand basin, your own toilet, your own shower. Yes, a shower. Yeah. Why would you want to get this little one seat like this when you get a great big car like I showed you before? You know, you'd be nuts. And so many people pay for the first class seat ticket and get this, whereas they can book that. It's the same price. The railways would rather fill up these first, just to be arseholes. You know? But if you ask for it, say, oh, I want a car A facing forward. Oh yeah, no problem. But you've got to know the secret. The secret is, if you go on the XBT, you get a car A in daylight. That's Sydney to Melbourne, or Melbourne to Sydney, Sydney to Brisbane, or Casino, which is on the way to Brisbane. There's no car A on the train to Dubbo, because the Dubbo train only takes 5 hours. This thing takes 12 hours. Anyway, so if somebody else there comes in. So if you come to Sydney, Australia, New South Wales, Australia, and you're going to get by train, Sydney to Melbourne, Melbourne to Sydney, Sydney to Brisbane, or Gold Coast, Casino, there's no rental car agencies in Casino or Grafton that gives you a unlimited mileage on a rental car. You have to go to an airport in Coolangatta to get an unlimited rental. So if you're going to do the train thing, do yourself a favour. You do your train trip and get the train to Casino, get the coach to Tugun, T-U-G-U-N. Now, actually, across the road from the airport is one free accommodation place for homeless people or families in need for a night. They give you meals, shower, laundry, wash. I've used it myself. So staying in a motel because they're just too expensive. But if you're a backpacker and you're travelling around, yeah, I think they let you, you know. And they help you with everything, housing, doctors, whatever you need, you know. There you go, I think that's a freight train. Now, you might notice that that freight train is on another railway line and it's got no overhead wires. See? because they took the overhead wires out because they no longer have electric locomotives. Yeah, we used to have electric locomotives like in Europe, through Sweden and all that with the pantograph. We don't have them. So that goods line doesn't need that copper power line. So they took it out and the government gets their money back. Go and cash in the copper. And they're not going to run a passenger train up there because when it comes into the station, they're going to be back on the platform anyway. So just get rid of it. Another book. See? Right, guys, turns into a dead end. Anyway. Oh, you're back. Finally come back into range. Hang on, let's look at the window. We're coming into Woy Woy, the Hawkesbury River. Yeah, sorry about that. We went down through all the tunnels between Cowan and Hawkesbury River. And there's no reception. And the sun's finally going up. Anyway, I head back up towards my seat. One of the things I said before, the red carpet. They're putting red carpet, new carpet in the trains. It used to be blue. Because they found out the new trains are getting has got those sleeper berths. And they're having problems with the new trains because they're buying them from Korea or somewhere else. And hopefully a can of grease will stop all the squeaks. We actually can't hear it inside there beyond the door. Because the new trains replace with no sleeping berths. So in the daytime, you don't have the cabins. Like I'm about to show you where I'm going. Because I'm in a cabin, which is also a sleeping berth. So this is their refurbishment. All they do is this is the sleeping berth. So you've got your towels, all the rest. They don't have much. Gunny rolls, towels. Sorry about that. I am on a train and it's bound to lose and drop. Right. This is a sleeping berth. This is what the new trains will not have. So you've got 1, 2, 3 seats. This is a bed. That comes down, that's a bed. That's obviously a bed. And there's your pontoon lights. So you can see why. Now, if you've got a bad back, you can put all these up. You see? And you can lie down. Whereas these new trains, you can't do it. And this has got less comfort than what the original trains had. Look at that, there's some water out there. Check that out. Anyway,